finally, someone on the internet's going to talk about Ghostbusters. There's a picture making the rounds on the internet about the different treatment that the Ghostbusters remake received from people in the media. Now, I found the Tumblr where this post originated. I'll link it, but it's not that important who said it, it's only important what was said. I shall quote generously from the post here, as close as I can. So, Ghostbusters made $46 million on its first weekend. It had a $144 million budget, so it made 32% of that. The descriptions: lackluster, problematic, will haunt Sony. Haunt, I just got that. Professional. Star Trek Beyond's first week, it made $59.6 million against a $189 million budget, so it made 30%, less of a percentage. The reports on that one said, dominates, wins big. Both openings were called solid, but only one was thought to be problematic. Ghostbusters' second week drop was 53%. Now, the person who makes the post compares it to Captain America Civil War, which had a 59.5% drop, A Dark Knight, which had a 52% drop, and The First Amazing Spider-Man, which had a 61% drop. They also compared to something that actually had a pretty big tank, the allegedly profitable Batman vs. Superman, which dropped about 69% in its second week. All this data is listed as, quote, today's lesson in institutionalized misogyny. Okay, hold the phone. I believe that some relevant data has been left out of this calculations. Okay, of all the movies used here as examples, they all have something in common except for one of them. All of these movies were number one at the box office the week they premiered, except Ghostbusters. According to BoxOfficeMojo.com, the weekend Star Trek Beyond was released, July 22nd through the 24th. It was number one. It did $59.2 million. That's slightly different. The Tumblr posted 59.6. Okay, that might just be an adjustment from, projected to actuals. Whatever. Anyway, it did $59.2 million. The second place movie that weekend, The Secret Life of Pets, did only $29.6 million. Star Trek dominated because all ticket prices being equal, twice as many people saw that movie than any other single movie that weekend. The week before, the weekend that Ghostbusters came out, July 15th through the 17th, Ghostbusters started in second place. Okay, to be fair, it barely missed the number one spot. The Secret Life of Pets took the weekend for the second week in a row with $50.8 million to Ghostbusters' $46 million. It was close. But it's not like Ghostbusters was the only movie released that Friday. Except, holy crap, Ghostbusters was the only movie released wide that Friday. Okay, yeah, there was The Infiltrator released that Wednesday. That made $5 million that weekend. So if everyone who saw The Infiltrator instead saw Ghostbusters, then Ghostbusters would just barely squeak ahead of Pets. Perhaps this is why people were saying that Ghostbusters disappointed in its opening weekend. It was released essentially completely unopposed, and then it lost to a terrible family movie that was in its second week. And now that's pretty much done what it's going to do, and Sony themselves are saying that they will lose about $70 million on it, there's no reason to pretend that this wasn't a financial disappointment. It totally was. Now that sample post, that was made before Sony had actually released that, and that $70 million figure, that doesn't count new profits from rentals of the old movies, or sales from new merchandise, or the video game, or Ecto-Cool, or any of that stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if that number was cut in half by all this other profits. Nevertheless, saying the Ghostbusters reboot disappointed financially before or after this announcement, that is perfectly valid. Now don't get me wrong, am I using this as some example to say that institutionalized misogyny does not exist? Of course not. Am I saying that institutionalized misogyny does exist? I'm not saying that either. Look, I'm a small thing in a big world. I'm not going to talk about big things on my show. I'll leave that to people who are not me. I like dealing with things that are small and things that are reliable and individual things like numbers. And numbers don't lie, but they can be taken from their context and be used to mislead. This post leads out crucial data that gives a misleading impression on the movie's performance, whether it was deliberate or not. I'm not here to ascribe blame or intention. I'm only here to correct what I think is a serious error. Whether or not you think the Ghostbusters reboot was good or not, or funny or not, or important or not, it was not financially successful. You can blame its financial failure on anything you want, so long as we all can accept that. But hey, at least it's not that Mythbusters reboot they're talking about. Oh yeah, did you hear about that? Couldn't leave that one alone for more than a month, could they? Ugh. And to the No Girls Allowed crowd out there, who's really relishing the fact that this all-lady Ghostbusters sequel didn't do that good. Were you also the ones who were complaining about Mad Max Fury Road, which had, 2 minutes of women trying to escape bondage and free themselves, and about 170 whatever minutes of absolutely pornographic car carnage and people beating each other up and bloodshed and all that stuff? That's not good enough for you? Get a hobby.